Hi guys, in this video I'm going to explain you how to create a color wheel so that we can understand better the primary, the secondary, and the tertiary colors as well as the color systems we saw in the other videos. Let's get started. First, I'm going to start by creating a circle. I'm just going to grab my ellipse tool and press Shift and Alt while I create a perfect circle here. Now that I have my shape, I'm going to offset the path because I want to create 5 different levels in my color wheel. So for that, I'll go to my properties panel, then offset path. And since I want the shapes to go inside the original one instead of outside, then I'm going to put -1 inches. That's the size of the paths that I want to create. And then I'll click OK. And I'm going to do this several times until I get 5 different levels, like that. Then I'll grab my pen tool and I'm going to create divisions in here because I want to put 12 different colors. So I'm going to find the center. I press Shift and click right in the middle or in the intersection of all my shapes. I'll press Escape. And then I'm going to use the Rotate tool so I can create all the separations. For that, I'll click on the Rotate tool. I press Alt and click in the rotation point. And since I want to create 12 colors, as I told you, then I need to divide 360 by 12, and that gives me 30 degrees. And then I'll just click in Copy and press Command D several times until my circle is completely filled with those shapes. Then, since I want each of these spaces to be individual shapes, then I'm going to use the Shape Builder tool to create them. So I'm going to select all my elements, click on my Shape Builder tool, and I'm just going to simply click in all these spaces to create the shapes. I'm not going to do the center, so don't worry about it. And take your time to create all the shapes. I'm going to zoom in because I'm not going to do the center. So I'm just going to press Alt and get rid of all this excess. Let me paint it. It doesn't want to. Well, we can just get rid of it with the direct selection tool, as I'm going to do with the rest of these lines, okay? So just take your time and get rid of all those things, the excess lines. I made them longer or larger because remember with the Shape Builder tool, if we don't have like appropriate intersections, then the shapes don't get quite as we want them to. So we have the base of our color wheel. For this activity, we're just going to focus in create the 3 basic or the 3 primary colors and the secondary colors. And next video or next week, you are going to do tint shades and tones. So let's get started. Now, I've added here a second artwork. I'm going to create my color combinations in this part so then I can copy to my color wheel and so that you can understand better how these color combinations are done in Illustrator. I'm going to start by creating 3 squares. And the color wheel that we are going to use will be the subtractive color wheel. That means that my 3 primary colors will be cyan, magenta, and yellow. And we're going to start from there, okay? Now that you have, or that I have the 3 different squares, I'm going to start by painting them. So I'm going to click in one, double click in my color picker, and I will refer to the cyan, magenta, yellow, and black percentages. Since this will be the cyan, I'm going to put it at its purest level. That means 100%. And the rest of the values, I'm going to put them at 0%. And then I'll click OK. And I have pure cyan. The second one will be magenta. So all the values will be at 0% except for magenta. And then click OK. And the third one will be yellow. That means cyan and magenta will be at 0% and just yellow at 100%. And then I'll click OK. Now that I have my basic colors, let me just remove the stroke. Now that I have my basic colors, I'm going to move on and create the secondary colors. So I'm going to duplicate these 3 squares. And remember that the secondary colors are the combination of 2 primary colors. So I'll click in this one and I'm going to start by combining cyan and magenta. So I'll double click in the color picker and the percentages of each one of them will be exactly the same. That means that if I'm going to combine these two, I'll put cyan at 100%, magenta at 100%, and the rest of the values at 0%. And then I'll click OK. And what I got was indigo, as we call them as indigo or blue. And then the second one, I want to create red. For red, we need to combine magenta and yellow. So that means my cyan will be at 0%, magenta 100%, and yellow at 100%. And then I'll click OK. And I have red. And the last one, I'll combine yellow and cyan to get green. So cyan will be at 100% and yellow at 100%. And then I'll click OK. And that's how you can get your secondary colors. Lastly, we are going to create the tertiary colors. That means that we are going to combine one primary color with a secondary color. Let me show you what the values are. First, I'm going to duplicate these squares. I'm going to do more because now we have more combinations. Let me resize this. Perfect. Now we are going to combine these colors. The first one, I'll click in here, and this was a combination of cyan and magenta. Okay. Now, in order for us to combine a primary with a secondary, you have to choose one base color, and the other color that you combined has to be at a 55% instead of 100. That's how you can create the tertiary colors. Let's see the result. If my base color here will be cyan, then I'm going to put magenta at 55%, and then I'll click OK. And I get another shade of blue. Then I'm going to click in this one, and now my base color will be magenta, and my secondary color will be yellow. That means that I'm going to put this at 55%, and then I'll click OK. And I get another shade of pink. Since I want you to understand this better, I'm going to start by painting my color wheel. Okay, so I'm going to pick a spot and I'll fill it with cyan. I'll leave 3 empty spaces. Then the next one will be my magenta, 3 spaces, and the last one will be yellow. The secondary colors will be in the middle of these 3 ones. So this one will be, since in here I combined cyan and magenta, that was the result. And then this one was the combination of cyan and yellow, which was red. And this one was the combination of cyan and yellow. Okay, so now I have my primary and my secondary colors. And the tertiary, we're going to combine this. So I'm going to click in this part. I'll open my color picker so that you can understand better. And I'm going to put, my base color will be cyan. So I'll put it at 100%. The farthest color, or the next primary color, is magenta, which is not the base, right? My base is cyan. So I'm going to put magenta at 55%. And then I click OK. That's a tertiary color. Now for the magenta, this space is closer to the magenta. That means this will be my base color and this is my secondary. So I'm going to double click in my color picker. I'll put magenta at 100% and this time cyan will be at 55%. And then I'll click OK. That's a tertiary color. And you're just going to move on. Click on the next space. It's right next to the magenta. That means that will be my base color. And the farthest color is yellow. So yellow will be at 55%. And then I'll click OK. Next space. This space is right next to the yellow. So that will be my base color. And then magenta will be the secondary at 55%. Okay? Next, this space will be yellow at 100% and cyan will be at 55%. And the last one, cyan will be at 100% and yellow will be at 55%. And that's how you create all the colors of your color wheel, okay? In the next video or next week, you are going to create tint, shades, and different tones of the basic colors we just created. But for now, you are going to create your own color wheel by creating your primary, secondary, and tertiary colors, okay?